Good Tuesday afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. Our top story today, a devastating update from Anoka County. Manny Collins, the 16-year-old who vanished from Columbia Heights in May, has been found dead. The Anoka County Sheriff's Office confirming they found his remains at an Elk River landfill over the weekend. Right now, how Manny died is still not clear. Officials are waiting on confirmation from the medical examiner. Police are now saying this is a murder investigation, that they do have a person of interest in this case. However, they have not said who that person is. Manny's mother says when he vanished, he was staying with his father. Police say Jordan Collins Sr. has been talking with police since the investigation started. Here is the Anoka County Sheriff on why they end up searching that landfill for Manny.
We were offered information that led to a video, and that video showed some evidence that would suggest the body might have made its way into a dumpster and into a garbage truck. So that's what led us. But of course, the next stage for us is getting from the place now that we're at where we found the body. That's an important piece. There's lots of other forensic and medical examination that needs to be done before we take the next steps. But we're happy with the progress of the investigation, and we're going to keep moving forward until we get an arrest.
Right now, authorities are still asking for the public's help with any information on what Manny may have been doing before he died. We do have a crew on this story. We'll make sure you should make sure you watch KARE 11 News at 4, 5, and 6 to get the very latest information. Happening right now, President Trump's big, beautiful bill is in the hands of the U.S. House. The Senate passed the bill this morning on a 50-50 split vote. Vice President J.D. Vance was the tiebreaker. The bill already historic as lawmakers voted this morning on the 45th Amendment to the bill, breaking the record for the most number of votes in Vote-A-Rama history. Alice Barr is in Washington with the latest.
In a major win for President Trump, Senate Republicans narrowly passing his signature spending and tax cuts bill.
Make sure people's taxes don't go up tomorrow, the next day, forever.
The president worked the phones to convince holdout Republicans.
I think it would be very wise for them to get on board.
While senators set a new Vote-A-Rama record, introducing unlimited amendments all night long before the final vote.
The bill as amended is passed.
Proposed changes repeatedly shot down, including one from Republican Susan Collins, to increase taxes on the ultra-wealthy in order to boost funding for rural hospitals.
When these facilities close their doors, the people they serve are often left behind without access to health care.
Democrats say Republicans are creating the danger to rural health care through Medicaid cuts and not going far enough to fix it.
It is a Band-Aid on an amputation. It provides just a tiny fraction of the nearly $1 trillion in cuts.
More than 11 million Americans are expected to lose their health care. Republicans argue the overhaul will help keep Medicaid running long term. Also touting the bill's extended tax cuts and billions for defense, deportations, and the border. Spending the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates will increase the deficit by more than $3 trillion. President Trump's one-time advisor Elon Musk resuming his online attacks, saying Republicans who campaigned on cutting spending and backed this bill, quote, will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth. Now that the bill has narrowly passed through the Senate, it heads back over to the House, where it has to pass without any changes in order to meet President Trump's deadline to get it to his desk by July 4th. There are some House members, though, voicing frustration with some of what they're seeing come out of the Senate. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Brand new video today showing the moment a little girl and her father were rescued after they went overboard a Disney cruise ship as it was pulling into dock in Florida. The girl somehow fell from the 4th deck of the ship and her dad jumped in after her. You can see the Disney rescue boat quickly reach them, get them to safety. Disney in a statement commended their crew for their rescue that brought both of them to safety. Today's July 1st, and that means several new laws are taking effect across the state. One of them means you need to pay extra attention on the roads because starting today, motorcyclists can weave through traffic with some restrictions. They will be allowed to pass between lanes in stopped or slow-moving traffic up to 25 miles an hour. Today, state officials shared demonstrations of what is allowed. They say overall they do believe allowing lane splitting and filtering will be safer, but it will take work from both drivers and motorcyclists.
We all know our roads are busier and more congested than they've ever been, and we're adding another element to that roadway congestion and all of the busyness going on around it.
With the new law, a driver can get a ticket for trying to stop a motorcyclist from passing. Officials are asking everyone on the road to be patient with each other as people get used to the new rules. Also today, any boaters 21 and younger will now need a permit to operate a boat or personal watercraft like a jet ski. To get a permit, you have to take an online safety course and pass a final exam. There's also new restrictions on social media accounts that feature kids and generating revenue, now mapping out who gets the money and giving young influencers more rights. Entertainment venues will now be required to give out free water at ticketed events with more than 100 people attending that event. Start getting used to it now. Come fall, the X will have a new name. The Wild announced their home arena will be called the Grand Casino Arena. That starts September 3rd. Crews will replace all the Xcel Energy signs before the start of the Wild's next season. Jennifer Hoff has more on the new naming rights deal and what went into it.
That was a long time ago, too, so.
Matt Maka must love hockey.
Went to Wayzata High School.
He grew up playing and now helps lead the Minnesota Wild as its longtime CEO. A staple ever since the team first started playing at the Xcel Energy Center 25 years ago. But for the first time this fall, we'll have a new name and partnership with Grand Casino.
Business circumstances change. And so what might have been important to Xcel Energy, for example, back in 1999, over 25 years, business circumstances change. And we weren't shocked by this. And this new naming rights partnership is one big one as well that we will be launching, and yeah, it feels great.
The 14-year deal starts September 3rd and comes with a whole new look, from signage on the outside to inside, and even on the highways. There's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
As Maka hopes for even more, pushing for a $450 million renovation of the entire arena, an anchor in the city that hosts 150 events every year.
We're just asking for our fair share, and in time we believe we'll get that.
A process that's proved slow, perhaps just how long it will take fans to get used to a new name at a place where Prince once played and preseason games were king.
The first one in the building, the place was sold out.
The love of hockey, though, will never change.
Change is hard for people. We don't expect that on September 4th everybody's going to refer to the arena in its brand new name, but I think over time it will just become the norm.
For the tribe and the Grand Casino Group, they say this is about getting the naming rights as a native group.
I think we're actually right now currently the only one with a major sports center as far as naming rights. So again, like I said, it's just wonderful for tribal enterprises and tribes all over.
Drivers take note. In just 2 months, you will start seeing speed enforcement cameras around Minneapolis. Take a look at the map. This shows all of the locations the city is considering putting up those cameras. However, it will be a slow rollout, starting with just a handful. Ken Erdahl explains what company will be controlling those cameras and when we'll know where they will be focused.
Go to 26th and Lyndale.
Nobody pays attention to this 25 miles an hour sign.
In North Minneapolis.
People crashing.
And you'll hear.
Speeding.
Plenty.
Passing red lights.
Of safety concerns.
Chaotic.
But Prince Clark could also just show you.
This is what happens when people don't do the speed limit. They crash into people's property.
Clark said the fence around his front yard was leveled a few weeks ago.
Somebody was speeding down this way. Drunk, tried to pass a red light, smashed right into my property.
And it wasn't the first time.
I just kind of gave up on it.
He says other neighbors have similar stories.
He got his property crashed into like 3 or 4 times.
Those stats, along with the intersection's proximity to a park, school, and bike path, all help explain why 26th and Lyndale is among 51 potential locations for Minneapolis's traffic safety camera pilot, a list that will be whittled down to just 5 sites 2 weeks from now.
I'll campaign for it to be right here. 26th and Lindale is probably one of the most dangerous streets when it comes to speeding.
We're planning to have one location in each major segments of the city. We are spreading locations around.
Ethan Fawley, program coordinator of Vision Zero Minneapolis, says public support for the upcoming speed cameras grew considerably during public comment earlier this year.
We've heard support from more than 80% of people who have shared feedback for us.
Unlike the city's previous camera enforcement program, this one has state approval. And he says the vendor, Novoa Global, will make it easy to contest tickets, provide warnings on a first offense, and ensure citations do not go on someone's driving record.
Working with us to make sure we have a system that is truly protecting privacy. This isn't about us raising revenue. The citations are set at $40. This is about changing that unsafe behavior.
He says that's something he believes Novoa Global can deliver on because they already provide automated speed and red light enforcement in about a dozen states.
What we see with this vendor is we typically are going to get between 90 to 98% reduction in speeding at 10 or more miles an hour over the speed limit. That's a huge difference for safety.
That's over how long after implementation?
So that change can happen really quickly. We can get those reductions in unsafe behavior within 6 months, really, to get to a good level.
I think it'll have that impact all around the city. It'll start holding people accountable, and people will start getting tickets, and they'll start waking up.
The contract for the speed cameras as well as red light cameras to follow will total about $12 million over 4 years, with the option to extend by another 2 years. The full council is expected to approve it later this month, and on July 15th is when we expect to learn where the first 5 locations will be. Well, we are just 3 days away from the 4th of July, and there are plenty of fireworks celebrations in Minnesota and western Wisconsin to check out ahead of the big holiday. Tomorrow, Lake Bemidji, it is the Jaycees' 81st annual water carnival. Thursday in Bloomington, you can catch their summer festival at Normandale Lake Bandshell from 5 to 10:30 p.m. And on Friday the 4th, one of the biggest celebrations is Red, White, and Boom, that one happening in downtown Minneapolis. Fireworks popping at 10 p.m. over the west side of the Mississippi. We do have a full list of celebrations. If you're interested, you can find it right now at KARE11.com. Okay, stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.